So it took us 100 days to get through 11 countries. And how many miles?
Over 8,000 miles.
And
we didn't travel every day. It didn't take us 100 days of driving. It took us 100 days of wandering and sometimes staying in places for extended periods and sometimes staying in places for just a day.
I really wanted to go on the trip. It sounded like such a wonderful adventure, and just going through Mexico and learning Spanish was really fun. I couldn't wait to try it out.
When I first heard that my family was thinking about going, I wasn't quite sure, and it took a little bit of warming up to the idea.
We realized that there was a road that drove all the way from the Alaska down to the bottom of South America, and so we thought that we would be up for an adventure of going to Bolivia and seeing if we wanted to live there and drive there.
Yep, the Pan American Highway. When we saw that it went all the way down, we decided, let's take that road and see if we get there. So the idea to drive all the way to Bolivia, after we found out there was the Pan American Highway, really appealed to us, to pack up a vehicle with everything we own and set out in the freedom of just wandering down that road till we got there.
Yeah, it was like an old pioneering.
Yes.
I felt like we could experience the pioneer spirit.
Yeah, setting out into the unknown.
Using a modern vehicle.
Yeah. And we had minimum road maps. No cell phone, no GPS. So it was just kind of, once we crossed the border into Mexico, we were pretty much on our own.
And this way, we would get to experience all the different cultures going down there instead of just leaving the States and landing in Bolivia.
Right. There's so much between point A and point B. We wanted to experience it all.
I mostly spent my time looking out the window at all the beautiful scenery. There were lots of animals on the side of the road and lakes, and we went by the ocean, and there were lots of mountains, and it was really beautiful.
Most of the things I missed about being back here when I was down in Bolivia was the Four Seasons and our family. That's what I missed the most.
I missed seeing my family and the friends, and just that we had to leave our animals behind. That was a little hard.
So the scariest moment on the trip was the ocean crossing from Panama to Colombia.
On a 55-foot sailboat.
With Captain Peter and his assistant Paula.
Yeah, but Captain Peter wasn't really the captain. He just appeared to be in that role.
Although he looked like a weathered sea captain, but his young 19-year-old girlfriend was calling the shots.
Yep, the sailboat was definitely the craziest part.
The craziest part of the trip was the sailboat ride from Panama to Colombia.
And we would ask simple things like, where are the life jackets? They could produce none.
No, and everything would have been fine if everything would have been a normal situation. But when we headed outside the reef and went to make the ocean crossing, we ended up going into a really bad storm.
Yes, storm that lasted from maybe 4 in the afternoon till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, really bad weather.
And
the sail ripped, and windows got broken in the boat.
Yes, yes.
Everything in the boat was all over the place.
It was leaking. The dogs were outside tied to the mast,
and the pump
getting
that
swung
pumped
around.
The water outside of the boat was broken, and he would have to go down underneath the boat and underneath the floor of the boat in the middle of the storm to try to keep tinkering with the pump to make it work.
The whole boat was just getting slung back and forth with the waves. Everything fell out of the cupboards. And then one of the other passengers slipped across the floor of the cabin and broke the window with his head. And
the boat
fell down on the table that David and the girls were sleeping under, which crashed onto them and produced a couple big gashes on David's back. So that was an injury.
And at that point in time, it was the first time I really ever felt, even after all the years of being a fireman and everything else, that I felt like we could die out here.
Yes, I thought we could die.
And so that was the scariest part. There's many highlights, but the death road itself was probably my biggest highlight. and it was exciting because it was the last thing we did before we finally went down into the jungle, leaving the Andes Mountains and going into where we were going to live. Mm-hmm. And it meted every expectation I had for it and exceeded that. And it's engineering marvel that it could ever even be created.
So primitively and
so primitive.
Long ago.
And that it was scary to drive on it with one-way traffic, and to even think that they used to have two-way traffic on a one-lane road on the side of a mountain with thousands of feet straight down was amazing. But the view and the scenery was absolutely stunning. And I would like to go on the death road again.
I would go on the death road again. Jungle living.
Yeah. 1 year of jungle living, so we experienced the rainy season, which was absolutely incredible how much rain can fall over a period of time, day after day, week after week.
Yeah.
But being in the jungle and seeing the jungle growth and the jungle animals, the parrots, all the different kinds of parrots and different weird animals.
Lots of snakes and tarantulas and scorpions. Those seem to be the most abundant wildlife.
Almost an everyday visitor in the house for a while.
They shared our house with us.
Scorpions or the big tarantulas. And very slow life pace, very laid back. And I'm not sure that the jungle is a place for me, being a Northwoods man. I struggled a little bit with jungle life, but it wasn't bad.
We started a small breakfast cafe in the little town of Ruinambaki, a little tourist town on the base of the Andes Mountains next to a beautiful river. So it's always interesting. Every day you do not know who you'd meet from what country.
And it was nice to provide them with something that we would have liked to have had on our trip down there, just in a familiar setting. Where
coffee refills. We got lots of comments on coffee refills. That made people very happy. Our decision to go back to the U.S. was pretty much motivated by my mom. Was sick with cancer and dying, and she didn't have much longer to live. And also many factors culminated right around that point. We had been battling the paperwork issue for 9-10 months there.
Yeah.
Been sold fake extensions on our passports, been losing a lot of money trying to obtain the right to stay, so that was a frustration, and we were ready to come back. The trip home differed from the trip there in that it was very stressful under stressful circumstances.
Much more stressful, but very fast.
It was very fast, but on the way out of Bolivia, unexpectedly at the very last moment, the airline denied our dog passage on the airplane.
Yeah, I really was sad when Walter had to get left behind in Bolivia. He was such a great pet, and he did really good on the way down traveling. He didn't hardly bark at the dogs, but Biddy, she barked a lot. She didn't like all the street dogs down in Mexico.
Well, he stayed with some friends of ours who live in Bolivia, and now he's living down in the jungle, so we're told.
Hopefully enjoying jungle life, although we miss him dearly.
Yeah.
We were very relieved to make it home in time before my mom died, and were able to spend a precious couple days with her. And so we thank the Lord we made it home for her passing. A year later.
1 year later from being back, we find ourselves up in the Northwoods of Michigan, where we love it more than any other place after all our travels, and we are on a small homestead out in the middle of a very remote location, surrounded by state land, and living near the Manistee River.
I spend my days with riding about 2 hours a day with my horse, and spending some time with my sister who's about to get married, and helping Mama clean the house.
Most of what I keep busy with now is helping my family take care of the animals, and I'm planning to get married in December, so we're building a log cabin on our place.
We believe that it's our paradise, and so we're thankful that we have this, and we're glad to be back on our own soil, and we were thankful for the time that we had to travel and meet the other people, but we're back doing what we wanted to do a long time ago. Homesteading.
Yep.